This is a sticky dough. You do want it to be. Best way I've seen to do this is to just basically grease up your hands and then tap the balls. Okay, I'm going with mint chocolate chips today. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Catherine, the Aerogarden Homesteader, and today I am doing some meal prep. I am going to get some burrito-sized wraps made. One stone. I will also need to, and I don't know if I need to film this or not, I might just do it just to show you how my day goes, but I need to make some cookies for the kids, and I also need to make more sourdough. So we will get going on all that. I think my lard has gone bad. It smells a little off. Yep, August. Well, won't be using that one then. I'll go get the other one. Technical difficulties, I will be right back. Okay. Got a clean, fresh box here. So I was going to use this to make pie crust, and well, like I said, it's going to be used to make tortillas. I am actually scaling up the recipe a little bit. Not a lot, because I don't think I need a ton of extra wraps above what the recipe makes, but it's always good to have a couple extra just in case. So instead of doing 1/3 of a cup of lard, I am doing 1/2 a cup of lard. So I'm only scaling it up a little bit. Okay, so get that off the counter. So that pretty much brings up my 3 cups of flour to about 4.5 cups of flour. Which is probably good because I have a bunch of flour I need to work my way through before it goes bad. And I also have a bunch of eggs I need to go through. So I like to put in about 1 tablespoon of sugar in my wraps. It's just what I'm used to, so do what you like with that. Okay, it calls for about 1 to 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Since I'm scaling the recipe up, I'm going to definitely put 2 in. And a teaspoon of salt. I will make it a generous teaspoon since, again, I'm scaling it up. And that is pretty much it. I need to mix all this together and then add some hot water. This is definitely a case of just get your hands in there and feel how it comes together. Now I'm not sure how much water this will take. It calls for a cup in the normal 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of water recipe. So it's probably going to take at least 1.5 cups maybe. I guess we'll see. I don't want to put too much in. This is not one of those things where, oh, a little too much flour, a little too much water, a little too much flour. You just try to not go back and forth with recipes like that. It kind of messes with their proportions. Okay, so that is incorporated. I'm going to get some water. Okay, this is just hot water from the tap. I have 2 cups here, but I should not need 2 cups. I should at least need 1 cup to start. Okay, I put in more than 1 cup. It's 1.25 cups. So we'll see where we're at. Now, if you have not seen my video for making tortillas, I have made a video on it before. This is a sticky dough. You do want it to be a very sticky, soft dough because you're going to need it for a while to bring it together and de-stick it, I guess. You know, you need to develop the gluten, and it will become soft and less sticky after being worked. But it's a very different dough from what I'm used to working with. So see how it's very sticky dough. So this is why it's really good to know what your doughs are supposed to feel like, because I scaled it up. I didn't do the calculation for the water, and the dough will take what water it takes. You know, I'm measuring with cups for the flour. I could have measured any amount of grams of flour, and if I had put in the exact amount of water it called for, it may not have worked properly, just because it would have been either too much water or not enough based on the flour. Okay, but yeah, see, it's very soft. This isn't quite as sticky as it was just a few minutes ago, but this will be kneaded for at least 10 minutes. And I think I used a little more, so it's probably a cup and a third. I got about a little more than half a cup left, so take that how you will. So I'm going to knead this for 10 minutes. I'm not sure you really need to see this, but definitely knead it until, so see how it's not very smooth? It's not a smooth dough. You knead it until it's smooth. Okay, so it's been almost 10 minutes. You can see that the dough is very nice and smooth. It does tear a little, but I mean, it's still a very nice smooth dough. So what I'm going to do with this has a lot of gluten that has now been developed and tightened and all that. I need it to rest, but I'm going to kill two birds with one stone on the resting. I'm actually going to shape it now and let it rest shaped, and then I will do the further shaping to, you know, make it into the tortilla shape and then fry it up. So I will go get a scale. I found the scale is the best because then I get all uniform, all about the same size. So I'm going to need 80 grams for my balls. So I will go through and shape them all up and then get them on a cookie sheet, and I will cover each ball with a little bit of lard just to keep it from drying out, but I will also cover the whole cookie sheet with a plastic wrap. So I'm looking for 80 gram balls. This way we will also find out how many wraps I get. Okay, so I got one that'll just be a little on the scant side, which is fine. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 and a half. So what I will do is, you can do the tuck and fold that I've seen other people do. I'm not very good at that, and it feels like it makes a big mess on the bottom. I will just roll them into balls as if I'm making rolls. So I just roll it like this, and then I will cover it with some lard and put it on a cookie sheet. So I will probably roll them first, and then get them on the cookie sheet with lard. That way I'm only messing up my hands with the lard once instead of between each ball. And then I don't get a bunch of lard all over my counter and it doesn't get too messy. So I will just go through, shape these up real quick, and then I will show you how I cover them. Now they do seem to dry out quickly because I can already feel there's a skin forming on them. So definitely try to get them shaped and covered quickly. Now if there's little pieces on them, I've been sort of folding those to the inside and using the other side as the outside, just so they don't fall off. Good. So, best way I've seen to do this is to just basically grease up your hands and then tap the balls and transfer it over, and then just spread it around so it's all covered. Now this will prevent it from sticking, it'll prevent it from drying out, it helps it cook later. It seems to be a multi-purpose covering for the balls. So, okay, there we go. I think this last one didn't quite get enough, but there we go. So I will get a sheet of plastic wrap and just cover this and let it sit. Kinda doesn't matter how long you let it sit, the longer the better, but it should be at least 20 minutes from when you made it and rolled it all out. And that will help it. And if you do roll it out and you find you're sort of fighting the dough and it keeps snapping back on you, just let it rest longer. Don't fight with your dough, just let it rest. So this is ready to be covered and it's ready to rest. And then I'm going to clean up and move on to the next step of my freezer meal prep, which I think will be pasta. So stay tuned, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I am moving right along. I'm just going to try to plow through all these projects because I still need to actually go down and get some meat from the freezer to thaw, which I haven't even done. I should have done that earlier. Okay, so I need to get 1 cup of shortening, which I don't think I have enough in here, so I might need to use a little bit of lard and hope the kids don't notice. Or I guess I could do a half batch of cookies, but they blow through cookies so fast that it's not worth it for me to make a half batch. Okay, well that is the end of that, so I guess I gotta decide if it's worth getting more or just maybe I should just get some butter and make a half shortening, half butter cookie. Okay, butter was in the freezer. It is hard as a rock. I am not waiting for butter, so we are just going to put in a bit of lard. This is a pretty neutral tasting lard. It's not like bacon fat, so I am sure it will be fine. Cup of that. So we should have a full cup of fat of some sort. Alright, I need a bunch of sugar. Cup and a half. And I've only got the 1/4 cup measuring cup in here. I'm going to steal the 3rd cup. That does cover both the white sugar and the brown sugar component. I need more measuring cups. Okay, I'm going to get this creamed together, which could take a few minutes. I notice the lard is definitely a more solid fat than the shortening. Not by much, but there is a bit of a difference. I normally do this in the mixer, but I didn't feel like pulling it out today, so I am getting an arm workout from kneading everything. And I will also need to make some sourdough bread today, which will require some more kneading. I am just waiting for my sourdough to get to the top of the container, which it's actually almost there, so. Alright, definitely a lot faster in the stand mixer, that's for sure. Okay, let's get the eggs going. Okay, 2 eggs. Teaspoon of vanilla, or whatever's left in the bottle. Probably about a tablespoon of brown sugar. This is obviously adjustable. It depends if you like the dark molasses versus light molasses. Get that mixed in. I think I need a new bowl like this. This one has been awesome. I've already washed it 3 times today just to make all of the stuff I'm making. I have to wash it once more to make my sourdough, which is going to sit in this for the rest of the for the next 18 hours. So then I will have to track down another bowl if I want a bowl. Okay, I'm just trying to break up some of the shortening lumps. I think I got ahead of myself. Baking soda. We'll need 1 teaspoon, half a teaspoon of salt, and then 2 1/4 cups of flour plus chocolate chips. I think I might need a touch more. It seems like it's been taking a little bit more than usual. I don't know if that's because my eggs are too small for the pasta and too big for the cookies, apparently. Yeah, so that's a little looser than normal. Put in a tiny bit more. We prefer puffier cookies and not flat, crispy cookies, so obviously adjust how you like. If you like them to be a little on the flatter and crispier side, obviously the less flour you put in, the more they will spread. Okay, that's that. Let me get some chocolate chips in there. Okay, I'm going with mint chocolate chips today. I want just a little less than 2 cups. I notice if I put 2 cups in, the cookies sometimes fall apart a little bit. It's almost like there's too many chocolate chips for the dough to hold on to. That is that. That might still need a little more flour. Mix in another tablespoon. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, a little bit better. We'll just go with it. Okay, what I like to do is, and I will cook up a couple just to show you what they look like and make sure the chocolate chips taste fine, you know, proof everything, is I will go through and put them on a cookie sheet and freeze them on the cookie sheet and just keep them in the freezer until I need to make cookies. Which feels like it's all the time, but it's not. Now I do like to put a sill pad of some sort down just to help get them up off the cookie sheet after they are frozen. Your mileage may vary. I have had some sticking in the past, but you know what, it doesn't stick every time. And this is a small, I think it's like 2 tablespoons, not quite. I find, or the kids find, 2 scoops are better than 1. But I do have a bigger cookie scoop, and I find that the 1 scoop of that is too much versus 2 of these seems to be a decent amount. I guess I could just make smaller cookies and let them just take more cookies to school. I don't think they would complain. But that's pretty much that. And then I will be making some bread, and that will probably wrap up part of my day. I do need to still go down and get some chicken from the freezer to thaw, and I'll probably, depending on how fast it thaws, I might roast it up today, or I might just roast it up tomorrow morning, because I'm going to have the oven on for the bread tomorrow anyways. So I could probably kill 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. Okay, well I'm going to get all these dished up, and then I will make the bread. I'll bring you along for that. It's not going to be as detailed as my normal bread videos will be. I'm just going to show you, just take you along for what I'm doing today. And then when it comes time to shape we'll shape the pasta and shape and cook the tortillas, I will bring you back for that. It'd be nice if I could have tortillas ready for lunch, and then I could have nice fresh ones. But I'm afraid if I eat too many of them, I won't have enough for my freezer meal prep tomorrow. So that's probably a good thing I won't have any for lunch. They taste really good when they're fresh. Okay, hopefully this is the last time we will be washing this bowl today. But I have my water and butter warmed up. I have my buttermilk powder, because I don't have buttermilk. And I'm going to get 1 cup of extra bubbly sourdough starter into, there we go. And looks like I got a decent amount left, so I will get that fed. Okay, so I'm going to get this in the bowl this time, doing it the other way around. This way I can break up the starter a little bit, and then we will get everything else measured in on top. And I refilled my flour bowl, so I think I need about 2.5 cups to start. Put in a little bit of vital wheat gluten, about 1/4 cup. Like I said, if you don't have it, this recipe actually worked really well with just the whole wheat, or just the whole all-purpose flour. Some salt, probably about a teaspoon of that, and then buttermilk powder. Now obviously if you are using buttermilk or like a runny yogurt or something, sour cream, you don't need to put in the powder, but it is really, you can just use regular milk too, but I've already committed to using non-liquid milk. So this is literally all I have left of my other bread, is just this little heel. So it was definitely time to make more bread. Definitely a little stickier this time, so add a little flour, bring it together, and then let it rest for about 10 minutes before doing the final full-on 10 minutes of kneading. Okay, I'm going to gather up all this flour. That feels a little bit better. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, it has been a little more than 20 minutes. I did take a break for lunch, so I don't know if I can get any more of this off the bowl. It's a little cleaner. I'm going to put a little oil in the bowl and then get to kneading the dough. Alright, so that's probably got about a teaspoon of oil in there now. I'm going to get this all kneaded up. Clean off the counters a little bit. Let's see how sticky this is. And this will need to go for a good 10 minutes. I want to have really nice, good gluten development and a halfway decent window pane if you do that test. And I did do a bread video recently, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna go over this like really in depth. I will link to the other video. I've got a couple of bread videos, but this one is the one that's from my grandmother. I still have not found my ginger to put a pinch in to see if it makes a difference or not. But anyways, this is a very nice bread recipe, and I've come back to it several times and like ignored all of my other ones. So to me, this is a really good bread recipe until I guess I find the next one I really like. But anyways, I am going to get kneading. I will probably just turn the camera off The next time you see this will be probably tomorrow morning when I shape it. Or when it comes out of the oven, whichever I remember. I'll show you how it looks when it comes from the oven, if nothing else. And just so you know, this is how the cookies turned out. They turned out very flat. Probably could have put in a little bit more flour just to prevent that, but they tasted really good. So, I mean, no one will complain about them if they're flat. But that's how they turned out, just in case you were wondering. Okay, let's get these tortillas cooked. So I have some flour, my rolling pin, my well-rested tortillas. I think it's been about an hour and a bit. So, and behind me I have my large griddle heating. I think it's like a 28-inch or something, 22-inch, something like that. I have both sides heating, and that will allow me to cook the really big burrito style ones. Because I don't really have a comal, but my cast iron that I normally use, it's not that big in the grand scheme of things when you want to make big wraps. So I have been doing this on my griddle, and it works out really well. Now the other thing to do is to sort of get a bit of a rhythm going on, where you get you want to be like 1 or 2 ahead, so that it has a little bit of time to rest on the counter while you're cooking one, and that way it doesn't shrink up quite so much when it goes on the griddle. And if you keep turning it, you will get close to a round shape. There's no guarantee it will be round, but you will get a lot closer if you keep turning it. That is the only hint I can really give you. I don't always get really round ones. Eventually it just kind of stretches a little, and you get oblongs. It all tastes the same. I do have a cookie sheet that is lined with a clean tea towel to put these on after they come off. You want to cover them when they come off so that they can sort of steam a little and remain soft. And then I will pack them in a bag in the towel to prevent them, so the towel will absorb the moisture and prevent them from getting all sweaty and smarmy. Okay, so see, it does bounce back a little bit and shrink up a bit, so that's why you want it to sort of rest before it hits the pan. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I'm going to start another one. I'll explain what I'm doing. So I'm going to take it off the cookie sheet and I dip it in flour, turn it over, and then press it down. And then I just kind of flatten it into a disc of mostly uniform thickness, but I do leave, I don't know if you can see, that the rim is a little thicker than the rest of it. And you can use sort of your fingers and the palm of your hand also to help once it gets bigger. If you can figure out the slap technique, you can do that too, but I haven't figured that out. I don't know if I'm just not coordinated enough or what. Lots of flour. If you feel like it's sticking, put more flour down. You do want to brush off extra flour before it goes in the pan, or whatever you're cooking it on, because the flour can burn and create an unpleasant flavor. So I think I'm getting close to hot. So I'm going to get some of the extra flour off, and then on it goes. Now you want to give it about 30 seconds and then flip it, give it another 30, and then you can flip it again if you don't quite have the color you're looking for. And then adjust your heat as needed so that it obviously doesn't burn, but you want it to cook through. Okay, my pan was not quite hot enough for that first one, but it will continue getting hot. And I'm going to switch the view around so that you can watch on the how it looks on the griddle. Okay, so this first one is pretty close to done. If I want a little more color, I can leave it on for a few more minutes. And then I do have a lined cookie sheet here that it will end up on. And you have to be careful when you turn them. If you turn them early, it's possible that you could rip them. So I did rip it a little bit, but it's fine. I think that one is done. It's done enough. It will be getting more cooking again when I fill it. So I'm going to just take that off, put it on the sheet, and just get some of the extra flour off. On it goes. That one might have been my smaller one, but I guess we'll see. Maybe I just didn't roll it out enough. That's pretty much all there is to it. So it's not hard, but it's not that easy either. It took me a little while to get the hang of it, so take your time, don't worry about it. I'm sure you don't need to see me cooking more of these, so I'm just going to blow through the rest of these and I will show you what I end up making with them later. So this loaf isn't quite as tall as some of the ones I have made in the past. This had an opportunity to proof overnight in the fridge instead of a couple of hours on the counter, so it was cold proofed. It also has sat on the counter for about 24 hours. I baked this off yesterday. I'll let you know, it is so much easier to cut now that it has sort of solidified up a little bit. It's not stale, but it's not fresh either. It's kind of in that in-between state. So I'm going to get this cut off, and then I will probably just bag it up and put it in the freezer to keep it at this state of freshness. But it's got a really nice tight crumb, so this turned out really nicely. Pretty much I started the bread about 3 hours earlier than usual, and I had to shape it before bed instead of shaping it the following morning. This is how the celery is doing. It is also feeding day. I am thinking, I don't want to sacrifice space in a farm, but I think I might try to move this up into one of the farm units and see if it does. I mean, it's doing really well, but it does guzzle through water really fast, and I think this way it'll have a more stable supply of water, and you know, I think it'll do really well up there. But they're getting really big, so I might have trouble getting them out without damaging roots and then getting them back in without damaging roots. I do wish Aerogarden had larger holes. I think these 1 and a bit inch holes, they're just not big enough. And then the cilantro is doing well. I've not been using the cilantro. I really should come through and do a big harvest and just put it on a freeze dryer tray just to have it for, you know, just cooking with. But I haven't done that yet. And then I did get some seeds. I got some cucumber seeds. I'll get some tomato seeds soon, but I'm not going to be starting seeds until next week. So I will take you along for that. I will be starting up a whole bunch of seeds in the Aerogardens. So that's actually something new for me this year. And then I'll show you how the strawberry is doing, and then yeah, that's it for this week. There's really not much in the Aerogardens. And I know I don't show the strawberry very much, but this is how it's doing. It's growing really well, and it is putting out a ton of runners. So we should probably cut off some of these runners just to see if we can force it to fruit. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, I hope you found this meal prep video interesting. I will have the meal preps coming out on Thursday, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.